Hi, we are JKwan, a new podcast of views from foreigners based in Japan, focusing on worldwide racial and systematic inequalities and disparities, language, music, the arts, and culture. Created by everyday people for everyday people.
Alright, I gotta fade it out. Alright, welcome Jay.
Okay, yeah. And that was Caroline Bob with their song Next to Joe.
Okay, what's up? Can you hear me?
Hey there.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, let me share you my screen. Okay, so the first video, have you seen this one? Can you see it? It says, hold on.
Yeah, I think I've seen this one actually, yes, but go ahead. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so this one is, well, I have 3 videos, but they're all, I guess, have very similar themes, and it's about,
Okay.
People, not understanding why, someone would come to this country if they're not, like, for example, this person is, I think this is like a town hall meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and he's, he's explaining about some problems that he's experiencing in his community, and then one guy calls him out and saying, like, oh, if you, why didn't you just stay in Mexico?
Okay, so we're looking at Caucasians or Caucasian people.
You want to watch it? It's only like 1:30.
Yeah. So I'm just maybe I'm talking about. You spit that part out. For the listeners, today's topic is we're going to be talking about people with their brazen selves saying to people of color, brown, black people, go back to your own country.
Yeah.
This is the topic of today.
Yeah.
We might go a little bit deeper because we're going to also maybe go into a little bit of Jane. I can't remember her name now.
Jane Elliot.
Yeah, thank you, Jane Elliot, as well, and it will show you exactly what's going on. So let's move on and let's watch these videos.
Exactly. So this is just goes out for people, all those people who have experienced, someone telling them to go back to their own country, and if they're like born there, they're just like what?
Yeah. And we'd like to thank those people also who have been viewing us. It's been awesome. Thank you so much for watching and for your comments and your likes. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Con and I just got together to do this, and it rounded off. It was just supposed to be a one-off, but we think that it might be it's effective for both of us. It helps us.
Yeah, it's fun
to deal with what's going on as well. So it's really good to discuss and talk about it, about our feelings. And if you learn from it, that's great. But it's not here to teach you. We're here to just talk about our feelings within what's going on. And this is how we vent. This is how we counsel ourselves or relieve our stress about race, discrimination, inequalities.
Exactly.
And that's basically what we're doing for ourselves, and we hope that maybe it will help you guys too.
Exactly. Yeah, we like to engage in discussions, and we like to break things down. Nice. All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I remember when I went to his bedroom to say goodnight, and he was crying because of the abuse that he was enduring in this school system.
Then why didn't you stay in Mexico?
You need to leave. That's disgusting.
That's indicative of what these kids are experiencing. That's indicative of what our kids are experiencing. Comments like that. And he's sharing a story right now, and that's indicative of what our kids are experiencing. So this is the path.
Please.
This is a platform for discussion.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
You're right. You got the floor.
I got
You got
respect
the
for
floor.
you. Wherever you are.
But no, you got the floor. Hey, you interrupted with 10 to 8. You interrupted with 10.
All right. We're gonna have this meeting.
Let me answer the question. He asked me a question.
No, go ahead.
He asked me a question, why didn't I stay in Mexico? Because this is the greatest country in the world.
Well, you're complaining about being here. You're complaining about being here.
It's not your turn.
It's not your turn. You get the mic next. You get the mic
Here's
next.
the thing.
Okay, have a seat.
We're
Oh,
gonna
don't
have
tell
this
her to
meeting.
have a seat.
All right.
Let's watch another one.
Have you seen that before, Jen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't. Every time I see it, my blood boils.
Could you hear it?
It's an arrogance. Yeah, I heard it perfectly. It's an arrogance. It's an arrogance that these kind of people have, that they think they have a right, that they own everything, and it's like it's the arrogance and the amnesia that they have, right? Because the country that they're in is not even theirs.
Mm.
All right, let's look at. Have you got any more?
Yeah. Yeah, I have two more. But I wanted to ask you, like, let's say you're at that town hall meeting, what would you say and what would you do?
Like I just said, I'd say to him, so, and where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is also not your country either. So why don't you go back to where you come from?
Mm-hmm.
The arrogance of you people, and the you people, the arrogance of people like you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me rephrase that. The arrogance of people like you, and the amnesia that you have, the convenient amnesia that you have about your history and how you got countries that you're in that you claim are yours, and to feel that you have that right to tell other people to go back where they came from when you are simply in the same position as them. How dare you?
You want to see the other ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you've seen this one before as well. So this one's about speaking English. Can you see? Hello? Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Shut. Oh shoot! You froze for a second. What's on? 1 second. 1 second. Okay. How about now? Can you see?
Yeah. It just says my internet connection is unstable.
Yeah. It was a bit choppy.
That's right.
I love Puerto
That's right. What about this?
I
guy?
love
don't love you.
I love Korean.
Do they need to
I
speak
love
English
every
too?
country. But when they come to America, it would be nice if they spoke English.
Too bad for
That's
you.
not racist.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
The United States doesn't have an official language, jackass.
I never said it.
Oh, well, then they don't have to speak it for you because they're not talking to you.
I'm so glad.
Exactly.
Yeah, me
You should have
too,
just mind
because
your own
otherwise
business.
Nobody would be standing up to your racist ass.
Really?
Yeah.
That's considered
Really?
racism?
Yes,
I
it
thought you
is.
were- Okay.
And you should learn the definition of it and not to show your ass in public again.
So you get to harass
Ain't nobody's harassing
The
you.
freedom of
You're
speech.
talking back to me, silly. You
Right.
stop talking, and so
I
will
was
I.
talking to them.
I don't
and
care
all
if they
of a
weren't
sudden,
talking to you.
You chimed in.
That's right.
You love
We
to
did.
laugh.
He
See how
did
it
what
works?
you did.
If
He
you
did
wanna
what
chime
you
in
did.
on somebody else's conversation, then you have to expect it.
All right.
Yeah.
So there you go. This is the
Yeah.
kind of world that you want. Aren't you happy now?
In Amherst, Pennsylvania, a woman on a bus berated young college students for simply not speaking English.
Yeah, well, I'm late every day because there's no working class bus system. Because the bus system caters to the students. And where are the students from?
Then, continuing her downfall of bigotry, on camera, she spews this.
It's hilarious. You're so going viral, lady.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I wanted to go viral.
Oh,
I bet.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
To top it all off, she
Yeah. It's just. Yeah. What up, Jen?
Yeah, it's the justification. They feel they're justifying their actions, and they forget that part.
Oh.
England and made it part of America, right? And it's not that they forget; they don't care.
You know, what surprises me is that, like, you know, this woman cannot connect, you know, the fact that people, like, you know, she's saying that she can't understand that, like, telling people just to speak English is not considered, you know, racism or discrimination. You know, so I see this as like, and the guy was kind of like saying that, like, you need to learn the definition of racism, right? So I think that is also a big thing that needs to be addressed, is that people just like you know, people like her, for example, just are ignorant about the definition of racism and discrimination.
I don't even know that they're ignorant. Because I don't believe that they don't know. I believe that they don't care, because if you've been getting away with your crap for so long, right?
Right.
And even though you know it, you're still gonna, you know, you've been messing up and you've been, you know, and been getting away with it. You're gonna continue to do it because you're getting away with it. And then people call you on it, right? And you're gonna act like, you know, this is the norm. This is what, because it has been a norm for them. And I really don't believe that. Again, I don't really believe that they don't know, because it's their dictionary, it's their language, it's their words, right? It's English, right? So how the hell you don't know? And she spoke quite eloquently, right? So I don't believe that she doesn't know. I believe that she doesn't care, and people like her don't care because they think they're privileged. They think they're higher than everybody else. They think that they have this high status because of the skin color. That's what it's really about. We have to be real about it. We always put it down to they don't know. They don't know. No, it's what they've been getting away with, and they do know, because this is your language. This is your dictionary that you, people like you, created for people like you, right? That we have to read. People like us have to read and learn. So how you don't know? And you're telling people to speak English. How you don't know?
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Right. We always look at a softer side, but I'm not doing that anymore, because I know I've been on this earth for such, you know, not such a long time, but I've been on this earth for a while, and I'm an observer. I watch. And we see what people think they can get away with. I can give you an incident. It wasn't verbal, but it became verbal in Japan. And I have this with some white girls here, where I'll be in a shop buying things or just carefully just doing stuff. And this one time I was on the phone talking to my partner, and I was in the shop in Osaka. It was like it's a foreign shop, like you selling foreign foods. And this girl, there was absolutely, it wasn't packed, and there was no need for her to do what she did. And before I go to this store, I'm going to go to one before, because the same thing happened to me in one of the department, Takashima. It was like a New York thing came to Takashima, and I went there and I was like, oh my God, I was just walking, minding my business. This white woman came up, and again, it was the same situation. There was no crowds, and there was no one there, just but me and her. And I was just standing, not in a way, not on the aisle. She came and she went, bang!
Oh, what?
I swear. And because I was like, what the hell?
It was a crowd.
I didn't say sorry. It was intentional, because I shouldn't be there. Why would you do that? What other reason? Because I shouldn't be there. Why? Because of this, right? That's the only thing I can think of. Because she didn't say sorry, and it wasn't an accident. There was no. It wasn't packed. There was no need for her to do what she did. There was absolutely no reason for her to do it. So then, because I learned from that one, because I wasn't ready for it, and I went, ain't no bitch gonna get away with that again. So this girl thought she could do it to me in the grocery store, and I just get a woof, right? And she was like, I said, I was like, yeah, because you think you can do it, but I'm doing it right back too. You don't have that right to do that to me. Say something, because you know you're wrong. And she didn't say anything. There was no need for her to do it. And that's what I get from them. It's like they don't think you're supposed to be here. Or they come up by you to try to intimidate you. Wrong person. I'm not that. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say wrong person. Yeah, I'm the right one. That's what I gotta say. I'm the right one. And because the thing is, I'm small. I'm only 5'11". No, I'm only 5'1". I was gonna say 4'11", not 5'11". I was gonna go 4'11". No, that's my mom. No, I'm 5'1", right? And I'm claiming that one. Right, so I'm really 5'11". I'm petite, right? So a lot of people think that.
They can just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up with 4 brothers, man. I got sisters, but I had no time for them. But I have 4 brothers, right? And I'm not a fight. I mean, I don't hit people because I know this is dangerous already, right? But if you're gonna come for me, expect it back. Don't matter how small I am.
I was gonna show you the last one, but it's pretty much almost the same. It's
Let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at this.
It's kind of long, so I'm gonna try to find this part where it's relevant. Okay, this one. Have you seen this one? Puerto Rican Burger King manager told to go back to Mexico. It's just funny itself, the title. Puerto Rican told to go back to Mexico. All right.
I'll record it.
Thank God. Have a great day.
Yeah. You're in America, you should speak American English.
No, ma'am, I don't.
Yeah. Go back to Mexico if you want to keep speaking Spanish. Go back to your Mexican country, your state, your country.
Guess what, ma'am? I'm not Mexican. I'm not Mexican, but you're being very prejudiced, and I want you out of my restaurant right now.
I'll finish my meal and then I'll.
You know what? I'll do it for you, man. I'll call the cops and have you trespassing me. It'll be easier for me. It'll be easier for you to have people like you, so ignorant and disrespectful.
We are ignorant.
You're very ignorant and disrespectful. Have a great day and get out of my restaurant.
Don't worry,
Go.
This isn't your restaurant.
Yes, it is, ma'am.
It is not.
And it is, actually, as a matter of fact, it is. I hate to
Wow.
say this, but it is.
Wow.
And you know what? The owner of this franchise is Mexican. His name is Guillermo Morales.
They always speak English.
No, they don't. He does not. You're very inconsiderate and you're very rude. So, get your business somewhere else. Get your business somewhere else.
You don't have to. You don't know how to act around the people.
Excuse me, you're telling me not to speak my native language? You're being really prejudiced, ma'am. You're being really prejudiced.
I didn't tell you. I said you should speak it
You know
around
what?
here.
I have nothing to say to you, ma'am. Just have a nice day, and they'll come back.
Don't worry, we won't.
I'm glad you won't. No, I'm good. No, we won't. I don't. Yeah.
Wow, está bien. Wow. Se me sacó en la realidad.
Go ahead, ma'am. I'm Ricky. I'm the general manager. You know what she told me? He said, you got to speak English in here.
What?
Yeah. Be prejudiced. Bye, ma'am. Have a great day. Don't come back.
Yeah. So just a lot of this happening where people are, telling people, speak English. You don't like it here, go back to your country. And they get the country.
I don't think it's new though. I think it's been happening a long time. It's just because we've got the phone with the cameras now that we're seeing it. Same thing with the police brutality. It's just that the phones are giving more, eyes on it, putting more eyes on it and putting it on the social media so we can see it. I just think it's always been like this. It's not new, and so people are probably thinking. Some people are probably thinking this is a new thing because of Trump, but it's been happening because these people are so comfortable saying it. Do you understand? They're so comfortable saying it, and people are blaming Trump. No, Trump played a big role in it too, but it's always been here, right? Where people feel that they have these kind of people feel that they have more right on this earth, on this planet, in that country than anybody else. That they can tell you what to do, right? This ain't slavery, and they still think it is slavery. This ain't Jim Crow. They still think it's Jim Crow, where they can tell people that are not this, that don't look like them, what to do. And I shouldn't say think. They believe, because it's not a thing. It's not a thought. It's an action. So they believe that this is the norm. So there was that one that I wanted you to show with the girl that was from, we can just talk about it without showing it. The girl that was a native from, she was a native,
Do you have it?
Oh, you have it.
I mean, somewhere. On my Facebook, I think. Yeah, but keep going.
Yeah, she's a Native American, and the woman told her to go back to her country. So, I mean, and then because she didn't have words for the woman, because the woman said to her, well, this is my country, where you come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she hit her. To cut a long story short, she hit her. And I'm like, so this is because you didn't have an answer, because you're telling somebody whose country, that people like you stole, to go back to their own country when this is their country, right? So when they're cornered, they lash out, and then they cry. There was a husband saying, "Oh, she's mentally ill." Then why you got her out on her own? I don't mean it like that. If you feel that she's gonna, because she was a danger to that person because she hit her, right? But I don't believe that. I just believe that's a scapegoat. They use mentally ill as a scapegoat, which is not good, because people who are truly mentally ill are not usually violent. Right? So it's like, she's mentally ill, and or when people apologize, I'm really sorry. I don't accept apologies for racism, because it's something you thought about doing. It's something that's in you, and you say what you feel. And when it wasn't an accident. It didn't slip out your mouth, or you didn't slip over it.
Yeah.
That's an accident. You didn't crash into it, right? It's from your heart, and that's where you're speaking from, right? So I don't believe in the apologies for blatant racism, because you know what you're doing.
I've seen that a lot. People scapegoating mental health as, the reason for racism.
Yeah, it's not, and I know that Jane Elliot says it's a mental illness, but I don't believe it's a mental illness. I believe it's an arrogance, and what's that word I'm looking for? Where they feel like they have authority over everybody else. They have this, we say, privilege.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
It's more than privilege. They have an authority where they feel that they can do whatever they want to do, and they can tell us whatever they want to tell us, and we should do whatever they tell us to do. And you can see that in the way that they speak to us, right?
Mm-mm-mm.
People say it's education. Maybe some is education, but I think people's hearts are this way inclined. And while we're on the subject, I want to talk about what Jane Elliot says about people like this, and I want to show a video. It's a little bit long, but I think it's really, really important to listen to it, and then we can talk about it after we come back with a commentary afterwards. If I can, I hope I can share it. I'm crap at this.
Yeah, I'll make sure you can.
I'm gonna try to share it. Host disabled attendee screen sharing. You gotta give me the host, please.
Yeah, you should be able to do it now.
What the hell? What's happening?
You should be able to share it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
So I just press it. I hope it works. I haven't done this yet. There's no sound. Maybe if I just go to YouTube and find it. That's what it would work from here.
Educate yourself.
Okay, here we go.
Because any white person who was born, raised, and schooled in the United States of America, if you aren't a racist, you're a miracle. Either that or you decided to educate yourself. Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black's gotta stand back. Yellow's mellow. Decided to educate yourself. Any white person who was born, raised, and schooled in the United States of America, if you aren't a racist, you're a miracle. Either that or you decided to educate yourself. Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black's gotta stand back. Yellow's mellow. But whites, we educate in a way that says that white males have done all the adventures, have made all the adventures, have done all the discovering, have made everything that is good and has been accomplished according to social studies, which is actually anti-social studies, by white males. It's a lie. But we do that in order to maintain the myth of white superiority. The myth of race has to be maintained at all costs in this country. Because if white people have to give up the color of their skin as being something that makes them perfect, what do they have left? If we start teaching the truth about history, if we start teaching about Nile Valley contributions to civilization, it will totally change the way we conduct ourselves in the classroom. It will have to. Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover a place where people are already living. But we celebrate that every October. It's a lie. We need to get over it. We need to stop telling the myths and start telling the truth.
So when you tell people that they're racist, and it must have some kind of effect, because most people will say, I'm not racist.
I'm not a racist. Why, some of my best friends are black. Yeah. Then you say, name one. Or this one, I don't see color. And when some woman says to me, I don't see color, I say, I knew that. If you saw color, you wouldn't dye your hair that way. Or I say, if you saw color, you wouldn't wear that shirt with those pants. I believe that you don't see color. It's an attempt to deny skin color. And it's an attempt to deny what's wrong with seeing the color of my skin. Is it all right for you to see me kind of pink? That's okay for me. I don't mind. And I suspect that you don't mind being seen the color you are. You have a right to be what you are. And until people in this country and people in this world get it into their heads that the first modern human beings that evolved on this earth were black women. They evolved in sub-Saharan Africa about 280,000 years ago. And every human being on the face of the earth today has the memory of those black women's genetic structure in their genes. Now, we don't want to admit that, but that's the way it is. And as people moved farther and farther from the equator, their bodies produced less and less melanin, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. As they moved into the east, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of vegetables, so their skin took on a different tone. I found that out when I was raising little kids. My husband worked in a supermarket. He was the head of the produce department. And they had lots of oranges that they couldn't sell, so he'd bring them home. And I was feeding my kids orange juice like you never saw in your life. They began to have an orange cast to their skin. I thought they had a liver problem. So I took them to the doctor, and she said, why are you feeding these kids? I said, well, lots of orange juice. She said, stop it if you want to stop being orange. Now, if you think that skin color isn't anything other than the body's natural reaction to the natural environment, get over it.
So if all white people are racist, according to you, can they be reprogrammed?
Of course they can. Of course they can. Of course they can be. It's called education. I'm an educator. The word educator comes from the root dus, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is one who is engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance.
Laid out the whole etymology of the word very succinctly. Yeah. I absolutely agree. I think education is one of the critical, essential things that we can do to, combat racism. And
no, I don't know about that. I just think it's just stop disliking the color. That's all it is. Why you how does it? I don't understand. Right? I can't look at somebody and go, I don't like that person because they're this color, or they're from this religion, or they're from. But let's just base it on the color, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like
so we class these people as intellects of the world, and we really, when you look at the substance of what they're saying, is really pathetic. It's idiotic to dislike someone because of the color of their skin, right? That doesn't. How does that make you an intellect? How does that make you feel that you are better than someone else?
Mm.
Right? Another thing I understand, I agree with what Jane Elliot is saying. And that was Jane Elliot. Everyone, if you don't hear, please, she does a lot of exercises, and you'll see how deep-rooted racism is if you ever look online and look at her exercises, because you'd be really surprised at the people's reaction from these exercises that she does when she's trying to inform those kind of people about racism and how they treat people of color. And the reaction that you get, right, it shows how it shows a lot, but I think I'll leave that to you. It shows a lot about the person, and it doesn't show anything about intellect. It shows aggression, it shows greed, it shows disrespect, it shows arrogance, it shows not a care in the world, it shows closed minds, it shows narrow minds, it shows and like she said, if they didn't have white, what will I have? And that's what it is. They're holding on to the power that they have, and that's exactly what she's saying. And this is a white woman, she's a pink woman, right? So, and this is, and she knows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are your views?
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I think this is a cultural problem, right? And it remains a cultural problem, like Jane Elliot says, because of lack of education, right? It's because it's repeated, this cycle of, and this perpetuation of this mythology, this myth, right? This perception and attitude and image of white superiority, right? And this process of replication through media, like through education.
Yeah, but it's not the main thing, though, right? It isn't. And she mentioned a lot of different things, right? Not just education, right? You mentioned a lot of other things. Yeah, education is one of them.
Right. But I also mentioned obviously a big one like media, right?
Absolutely. Right. Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's almost like, it is kind of like a form of whatever, like education, right? It's like telling people how or what is normal, what should be the case. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I think, education is a good place to start, because it's such a big part of, so many of like upbringing, right? It happens.
Okay, when you say education, what do you mean?
Well, I would actually say like,
how would you educate these people?
About education, for example, like what happens in schools, right? What happens in the family, right? What happens in the communities? What happens in our institutions, right? When we're engaging in discussing and teaching and instructing, when we're telling people, or when we're talking to our kids, for example, right? Any form of learning, really, right? And I do want to focus on, like, I guess, like institutionalized education, because it's such a prevalent institution, or like part of society, at least in like modern contemporary societies, right? So if I was to start somewhere, that would be a good, it's not obviously not the only place, but it is a powerful place, because it is right now like a current, I guess, like producer of current modern.
Yeah, and that's what she said. And I completely, one of the reasons I haven't had children is because of this, is because of the education. I would not send my children to school, because I've experienced the education that they gave us, that there was no history about, it was all about white history, and it was all about white fabricated history. We say his story. It wasn't, there was nothing it was about always, so like she said, we're all, you know, we're the adventurers, that we you know, we have the power with this, you know, we are these great people, but there's other people in the world, right? There are other cultures in the world. And one thing I do like about Jane is that I would love to meet her, and I like that she talks about, and I believe her about race, because it wasn't a thing until I think it was the Spanish Inquisition. And I think you need to read about that in the 1600s, I think, or was it? Something like that, in the 1600s or something like that, or 1400s, the Spanish Inquisition, and there weren't race before, right? We're just a people. It was all different colors. Race was created so that this can happen. Right now, going to this with the schools, this is a long history of not just in America, in the UK, right? In Jamaica, my mom was schooled by Black teachers that were taught to teach in the Caucasian way. When you talk to my mom, you wouldn't, you know, you're like, oh my God, she doesn't know anything about Black history. So everybody's saying it's like English-speaking countries. Yeah, Jamaica is an English-speaking country, but it's ruled, it got independence, what, in 1960? In the 60s or late 50s, I can't remember when it's independent from UK, from England, right? But I can't speak for the schooling now because I don't know. I just know the schooling when my mom went, and it was still British rule, and that's what they learned. They called England the motherland. Black people called England the motherland.
I didn't know that.
Right, and that goes to show you about the education that they filled into my mother's head. My mom says certain words that are very racist, like she calls Indian people coolies, and that's it's a drug. Lots of Jamaicans call Indian people coolie, and it was one of it's a word that the British used in India towards Indians, and it's like the N word. To me, I don't know what the Indians think of it, but it's a, and maybe I shouldn't say. If I say the C word, I have to tell you what it is. So I'm not saying it very lightly. It is a derogatory word, and my mom uses it because it was what she was raised on, and I have to correct her all the time. I'm like, Mom, you can't say that, right? And she says it in front of her carers who are Indian, her Indian descent, and I'm like, Mom, don't do that. It's not. You can't say that.
Yeah.
Right, and granted, my mom has you know, she forgets because she has dementia.
I think
but this is something that she's used as we were growing up, and and also their my mother's generation, I don't know about now, but my mother's generation, the dislike of Africans, right, which rubbed off on us. We had a dislike of Africans.
Yeah. You know, the story that you're bringing up, I think it's a really good example of, you know, how education can step in and you know, fight racism, right? Like in these moments, it's when you step up and you like, you know, you go against what, you know, people's, you know, ingrained attitudes and racist attitudes, and you stand up against that. And these are moments of education and enlightenment for people when you tell them and you fight, you know, you tell them, hey, that's not okay, what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is racist, what you're doing is hurtful and disrespectful.
Yeah, but that's not enough. But you saw that in the video, they're telling a woman, and she's saying they also see the problem with these kind of people is that, again, they have this authoritarian where even their own kind is telling them this is racism, and they're telling you that it's not. And it's so much so that, and I want this to be another discussion, that they think that they have a knowledge of what racism is just because it's in the dictionary, right? Let me tell you something about race in that word, right? In the 70s and the 60s, racism meant something else. Now everybody can be a racist because you're prejudiced. Now they're confusing it with or interchanging it with prejudice, right? Racism is when you have power, a system that dictates what you can and can't do. That's racism, right? In education, in the media, in housing, in jobs, in all kinds of opportunities, in the banks.
Yeah.
So these are people that we're saying we need to educate, but how can you educate people that think they already know everything? And I like what Jane Elliot does, the experiment. She puts them in the place of people of color.
Yeah, actually, you wanted to talk about that.
And they still deny it.
Do you want to talk about that experiment for our listeners?
Yeah, I think it's something that we should really should be able to show, because I think it should be another time, because it's really important to see how they react. If people have not heard of Jane Elliot, I recommend that. But maybe the next show that we do, because I know that we've got to keep it to an hour. But I think this is something that we should show in make a part 2 or something, because I would like them to see the whole situation when she starts it up and how she does it and how she treats them. They are treated like people of color, right? And it's a brown eye, blue eye experiment.
What's okay?
That experiment, it's an exercise.
So I was gonna ask you if you had any recommendations for things for people to look up regarding Jane Elliot, and you mentioned the brown eye, blue eye experiment. Okay.
Yeah, that's all. Or just watch it. Just watch this. And again, I'm doing what I said I don't want to do. I'm not teaching. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you on things that I think are important to me.
Yeah.
And if people want to learn from that, yeah, this is a conversation that helps me to relieve the stress, the pressure of having to watch people of color, Black people, particularly Black men, Black women, children, go through this horror. And this is an everyday life. You know, I feel fortunate that I'm in Japan, because we speak English all the time in Japan. And if you're comparing that, no one has ever said to me in Japan, don't speak English. Ever. And I understand Japanese enough for them to understand that. They've never said, why are you speaking English in the show? Don't speak English here, it's Japan. I've never heard that. So who does that? Or don't speak Korean, or don't speak Chinese. That's not, I can't speak with Korean or Chinese people, but I can't imagine it happening here. I'm not saying that Japan doesn't have its racist history or past, right? I'm not saying that, but what I am saying, I'm comparing it to, you know, imagine a Japanese person or Japanese people saying to Americans here, white Americans, don't speak English here. Do you understand? Because that's exactly what they're doing out there, and in England too, and in Australia, and etc., etc. All these countries that was stolen, England included, because it wasn't an English language. Asians were there first, or Africans or Asians were there first in England. Let's be clear about that.
Where can you start when it comes to breaking or stopping this cycle? When it comes to breaking the cycle, you know, I mentioned that, you know, it starts with, obviously, you know, starting with discussion, starting with standing up.
But it's family. You mentioned family, right? But it's ingrained and it's passed down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Did you see the Ronald Reagan's grandson?
Ronald Reagan's grandson?
Yep.
Why?
Putting if the bottles on a I don't know, a tree or on some sort of platform, and shooting them and saying these are black people, and that's what he wants to do to them. This was one of the presidents of America, and that's his grandson. These things are rooted in these people.
Mm-hmm.
It's rooted. I'm not saying in all of them, but in a lot of them, it's rooted.
Right, and so if it starts in family and is passed down in family, you know, that's where it can also stop. It can stop.
How?
Has to start in the family, you know.
Yeah, how does it stop though? I just think you should put them all on one island together. I do. I think that these people who are racist, because the justification for it is nonsense, should be put on an island far, far away from any other islands and leave them there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because without these people, and there's lots of them, there's loads of them, without these people, this would be a better place. We can educate people better. We can do things better without, you know, it's not going to be perfect. We're not saying that. We're just saying we need to take out the racism, because it's a big, huge, ginormous problem for people like me and people like you to live a normal life. Growing up always thinking that you are less than. Thinking, no. Right. Yeah? Believing that you are less than. And I mean, you do know that this is, they said that black people are 3/5 of a human. Do you know that?
That's crazy. Who says that?
It's in the Constitution.
That's fucked.
We're 3/5 of a human.
You gotta change that.
Right. So it's not just about education. It's about rules, system, that 1%.
Right. Right.
And those are the ones that need to be shipped off. But how are you going to do that? Because these are the people with the power.
I mean, it would be nice to be able to like ship them off into some kind of like, you know, their own island to live on their own.
Yeah, and I bet you money they turn against each other, because that's what's going to happen, because they're filled with nothingness and hate. Right? They're filled with nothingness and hate. And that's what they will do, is turn against each other. And that's up to them. As long as they keep it over there on the island, not allowed to leave that island, stay on that island forever, that's it. Because they cause too much trouble for other people of color.
As ideal as that may, as this, you know, idea may be, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I know, but it's something that I, you know, that keeps, when I think about it, the idea of it makes me it's a fantasy that I'm like, oh, yeah. Because I really don't think that education is going to work. There's always going to be racist people, always. I don't ever envision or imagine it ever being zero.
Yeah.
It's worse than a virus.
Oh, I think like
because we can control or get rid of some viruses, but it's worse than a virus.
I mean, like sometimes I feel that, you know, like the way that society works, it's a lot of it is top down. So, you know, like a lot of it starts from laws and policies and the way that government is set up. So, like breaking into that, you know, that sphere, you know, that hierarchical sphere, and like, you know.
Yeah, and that's the only way that we do that, if we support each other, right? Like if we become the 1%.
Yeah.
That's the only way. If we become the 1%, but we supporting, we creating new ideas and new, new media, new ideas, new philosophies, new. and we supporting each other, putting money, investing, you know, and that's the way that we can become a 1%, right? Because 1% don't really spend that much, like how the community spends, right? So if we did something like that, then we would be the 1%.
Exactly. You know, so
But that would be years and years and years, I think, and I should have more faith in that. But because a lot of people, there's a lot of people that won't believe in it. That I mean, look now. Okay, I didn't want to bring this up, but you know, I don't support any of those politicians, you know, Republican or Democrats. I don't. I think they're one and the same, in my opinion. However, I just responded to this thing on the Facebook where they were complaining about Kamala Harris, and I read about her background, but not completely read. But my thing is that you're all complaining about Trump. Why are you still complaining? If you want to get him out, this is the only option you have.
Yeah.
Right. So I said to this person, they didn't respond to me, and I said to them, well, okay, I understand where you're coming from. So what you want to do? They didn't respond. Right? They're complaining about, neither of them are good, but we have to vote for one. So what are you going to do? Right?
Do you know who Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is?
Yes, I do. Yeah, of course I do. Yes.
I'm like
she's a badass.
Constantly, I don't know. I think she's inspiring.
Yes, but a lot of them are. It's not just her. There are also black politicians that I would have wanted Biden to select more than Kamala Harris. But and this is another thing about colorism, which I mentioned to you before. I just feel that with Obama becoming the president, he's mixed. With Kamala Harris, she's also mixed. It's like you can't just be black. And I know that she answers to black and she answers to Asian, but you can't just be black. Right, with no just a black person like Jesse Jackson, who wanted to. I don't know if you know him. He was trying to be president for many years.
Yeah.
Right, and you can only be as long as you got like that mixed, right? And they still call you black, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So and I think that's why Biden chose Kamala Harris, because everybody else is black. The other women are full black, and so he chose her to be safe.
Yeah.
This is just my analogy of it.
Sure. What's it called, Jen? I'm gonna have to draw a hard line, but because
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah. Yep.
But what do you want to have you want to give a final message for today, like a final?
I would like those people who tell other people to go back to their own country realize that almost all the countries that you are in are not yours either.
Yeah, read some history.
Shut your bitch ass up.
All right. I like it. Thanks, Jen. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. How about you? Are you going to say something too?
I think, okay, so I've been saying this throughout, this this chat, but just speaking up, like in each of these videos, like you see people speaking up and standing up against racism or discrimination, right? And I think, even though I mentioned about the education system, I think it starts with speaking up and standing up in the family, in the streets, in public, with your friends, and starting discussions, right? And calling it out when you see it. I think it starts there, or else people are gonna, like you said, they're gonna remain in their own sphere. They're gonna like their ideology is just gonna remain isolated from the rest of the world. They're gonna pass it down to their family. So people need to be called out.
Yeah. I'm glad that's your side to say, because I'm not going to say that, and I'm glad that you're saying it, because this is what you're learning, maybe from something that how we speak and what we talk about. I'm not saying you're learning from me, but just through our conversations. This is something that you can share, right? I'll just tell you, how I'm feeling, but it's something that you can share to educate others.
Yeah, and there's also so many dimensions to this, because some people, they know that they need to speak out. They know they need to call people out. See that? They're afraid, right? Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Well, this is, I know we gotta go. This is something that I discussed with my partner, who's Caucasian, right? So, and we talk about why people don't speak up, and he says, and I agree with him, is that they could lose their life,
right?
Because these people are aggressive,
right?
And become aggressive just on you telling them that they're wrong, just on you. Not even confronting them or in a way of like in their face kind of thing, but just challenging them. So, and I understand why people, because we see it all the time. We see how aggressive, but then we're labeled aggressive. But you can see how aggressive is the smallest thing, right? And they call them Karens or Kens, right? But it's really not funny. And these people just snap like that.
Mm.
And this is why a lot of people don't speak out, because of what could possibly happen to their life.
Right. Yeah, speak
You
out.
don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like, who will go into a crowd of drive through a crowd of people protesting peacefully and kill them? Who does that? Right? And then they're trying to, it's not mentally ill people. This is people filled with hate, right? I know in Japan things like that happen, but the person is seriously mentally ill.
Yeah. Or like this makes me think of that video. Oh my gosh, of like this guy. He was or these bikers. These two black bikers, and they made like I don't know. They stopped in this neighborhood to like check for directions or something, and then this guy comes out and pulls out like a
gun,
semi-automatic, assault rifle.
I saw it. Right, I think there was 3 guys. And the guy was, he's property. He was arrested, by the way. Right? Yeah, but I saw that. And they. But the thing is, their arrogance tell them that they can do whatever they want to do, and they can tell us. And it wasn't that long ago, 50 years in 1950s, right, where we segregated, and they would call a black man a boy, and a woman a girl. And I mean, that even happened the other day with Trump. He called Kamala. He's saying that Biden called Kamala a girl, and he didn't. He was calling young black girls, right? But he called Kamala a girl, and people are not looking at that. And that is racist. That's how they addressed us. And he's trying to say that's what Biden did, but he's twisting it, because Biden didn't do that. And I'm not even a fan of Biden, but I mean for real, right? He was talking about young black girls. He wasn't talking about a woman, which Kamala is a woman, and he called her a girl. And that tells you that's that 3/5. That's all that is.
Okay.
They're sneaky with it, but I know, many of us know where they're coming from with that bullshit.
They're unconscious or implicit, bias.
It's not unconscious. It's for real. They know what they're doing, and we have to stop giving them a pass, because we do. It's unconscious. They don't know what. Not that they know what they're doing.
All right, Jen. I'm gonna end up.
JJ is my name.
All right, JJ. From now on, you hear that, guys?
Okay. Well, not for now on. It's forever. He just keeps trying to change my name for some reason. But I hope that we can get a lot of people watching, and I want to say thank you to those people that have taken time out to watch videos, and that my friends still aren't seeing it. I don't know why. We try to figure that out, but please enjoy the music. It's from my band Asia Brown and also Caroline Brapp. It's not anything to say. I just love to sing. It doesn't matter. I don't need fame. Just need to talk it out with my guy and just sing it out. That's what I do to get rid of this stress.
What's it called? And if you do watch it, make sure you try to comment, say something, right? Comment in the.
Not about the music, about the discussion.
is your song. Oh, this is a good fade out song. Alright. Alright, peace out, Jen. Peace.